Hello everybody, good morning and welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United news and there's lots to get into this morning. An update on Pochettino. Paul Mitchell sat with Rangnick last night at the FA Youth Cup quarter-final. Well done to the Manchester United youth side as well, into the semi-finals with a 2-1 win. An update on where the Champions League final is going to be. United continue to pursue Rudiger. Also, what are their two top priority positions? And a lot more to talk about as well. Now, obviously, the elephant in the room, well, there's no elephant in the room. We're meant to have Paul Ince in the room. I think he's stuck in training with Reading. He might be joining us in a few minutes' time. We'll have to wait and see. But it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. It doesn't stop us getting on with the show. A big day as well. I mean, look, let me just very, very quickly. There's lots I want to talk about. The Paul Mitchell thing is quite exciting because if you think about the director of football chats that have had at Manchester on the United Stand for a few years now, we always wanted a really good director of football. Paul Mitchell has always been a name that's been mentioned. If you don't know who it is, it's not the guy from EastEnders. It's Paul Mitchell, not Phil Mitchell. And yeah, my pab. And he is formerly worked. I mean, look, it's interesting in the sense that we're going to talk a bit about Pochettino in a few minutes, but could mean that we're going to work with Pochettino. And could mean that. But he has worked with Pochettino, Paul Mitchell. He's a very reputable technical director / director of football. Formerly worked at Southampton, formerly worked at Spurs. Then he went to Leipzig, Rangnick connection, and then he's now at Monaco. Well, last night at the FA Youth Cup, he was sat with Ralph Rangnick right next to him. Not 2 rows below, right next to him. And we know that United are potentially looking for another director of football to come in. If we did bring this guy in, we'd be bringing one of the best technical directors in Europe, in my opinion. So we'll have to wait and see. Apparently, he said he's visiting family. Maybe he was. Maybe he's just got a good relationship with Rangnick, but it's certainly the sort of person that United should be bringing in. So we'll come back to that because it could well fit in with Pochettino. But look, one of the things I was going to talk to Paul Ince about, and I can give you my opinion and you can give me yours, and the great thing about this is I can put them up on the screen as well if you want to put any chats in, is that reality bites and Rangnick needs help. That's what I was going to talk about. I think Ralph Rangnick's been really good in his time at United at exposing the problems that we already knew were there. It's quite justifying, really, to see a manager basically saying that the players aren't performing the way they should be, or that, that also that they're not... he can't really understand how it's happening and why are senior players not performing as well as young players. And obviously we've had all the discontent, which we've been fully aware of. So we've been justified in that sense. But the one thing that I've been quite consistent on is that I think long-term we're in trouble. I think the club is in trouble. They can change that path. You can always change the path, and the path can be changed by appointing people like Paul Mitchell, by recruiting well, by removing deadwood, by keeping some of the better players. Of course, that can change things. But I think the long-term future of United is very concerning. The short-term future of Manchester United was what gave me a little bit of hope. Maybe we can get to the quarterfinals of the Champions League, and then maybe we can get to the semi-finals. Maybe we can get top 4 because we've got a better squad than Arsenal, Spurs and Wolves and West Ham. But reality is starting to bite. We were very lucky against Atletico Madrid on Wednesday night. And then again, a manager has had to come out and call out the players. And again, the fans are calling out poor performances. And again, the media, I mean, Jamie Carragher's saying Rashford should be dropped. This is a consistent problem at Manchester United, that every couple of games we're talking about these players not performing. And, all I ever hear behind closed doors is, oh, you're very negative about the players. Stop moaning about the players, And it's like, if they perform on the pitch, they won't get moaned about. Like, what is fan content if it's not real? Like, what do you want us to do? Oh, tough luck, lads. You did your best. Can I have a photo? Like, they are pawns in a game of chess. They are not role models. They are not superheroes because they are not performing like role models and superheroes of the past have done in a United shirt. They are not performing good enough. So why should we as fans feed their fucking ego? They are not performing. They will get the praise when they perform, and they're not performing. And they need to perform, and the time is now. And this is what Rangnick wants behind closed doors. It's what we want publicly as fans. We are not performing anywhere near to the level that we need to do. And reality is starting to bite. Against Atletico Madrid on Wednesday night, we were played off the park for a long period of time. And if Atletico Madrid were decent, they would have put us out of this tie. We're very lucky to have a great opportunity to go through in the second leg. But I tell you what, 4th place, I mean, what's going on with that? Arsenal last night, people were saying they were lucky. How have we, as United fans, got the right or even, the balls to say Arsenal are lucky? How can we sit there as United fans and say Arsenal were lucky last night? I mean, they're 1-0 down. They win 2-1. They attack and score goals. Yeah, it's deflecting, and yes, it pissed me off. But you know what? Arsenal have beaten Wolves twice in the last couple of weeks, and Wolves are a decent side. 6 points in a couple of games against Wolves for Arsenal home and away. Wolves came to our place and battered us a few weeks ago. So Arsenal are 1 point behind us with 2 games in hand, and we've got to go to the Emirates. It ain't looking good at this moment in time. And it's getting to the point where it's now or never. Like, I expect us to beat Watford tomorrow, but we've almost got to go to the Etihad and get something next week. We've got to beat Spurs at home, and we've got to try and get something at Anfield, because my concern is, I said it yesterday in the preview for Watford, we've got only 3 Premier League games, maybe 4, before we play Everton at the start of April, because the Liverpool game could easily get moved if Liverpool get through in the Cup. Arsenal have got 5. Arsenal could be ahead of us with games in hand, and we've got to go to the Emirates in mid-April. So it's looking... we've got to start delivering now. We've got to start delivering now. Reality is biting. We were lucky against Atletico Madrid. And I think in the league, we've been kidding ourselves that we're favourites for top 4. And we're only favourites for top 4 because if other people keep doing us favours. I said this last night as well. Do you think our centre-back problems are to do with the lack of defensive training? Maguire, Varane, Lindelof, despite recent performance for fullbacks? No, I just don't think they're good enough, Q. If you want me honest, I don't think they're good enough. Maguire, McTominay and Rashford are backed by the board of directors. Even if Pep was managing, the board would have been forced to pick them. Well, I don't know about that, Varane, but what annoys me about Manchester United is, and I was watching the Arsenal game last night on That's Football, and I think I said it on there as well, so I'll say it again here. What annoys me about Manchester United's policy as a football club is, this is one of the things that irritates me more than anything, and it's nothing to do with any player. It's nothing to do with how we play. It's nothing to do with anything like that. But it really, really irritates me, is that when Sir Alex Ferguson was in charge, you knew he was in tune with you, the fan. You knew he was going to do everything he bloody well could to stop them winning the title, Liverpool. Like, he was going to do absolutely anything he could. And I think with United under the current regime, with no Sir Alex Ferguson, we've got an open door policy to every bloody record we've got. Like, last season, Man City could have won the treble. We did nothing to stop Man City winning the treble. We didn't. Did we stop Man City winning the treble? No, we didn't. Who stopped Man City winning the treble? Chelsea. Chelsea stopped them. They beat them in the Champions League final, and they beat them in the FA Cup semi-final. This season, who do we want to win the league? Do we want Liverpool to win it for 20 times and level up with us, or do we want Man City to stop them? Or do we want Man City? I mean, what do we want? And also Liverpool and Man City can technically still win the treble. So do we want Liverpool not to win the league, but win the FA Cup? Like, we've got this open door policy to all of our bloody records. And even in the race for top 4, we're like, oh, thanks, Burnley, for beating Spurs last night. Go on, Wolves, stop Arsenal winning. Our whole success has become dependent on other clubs. That's how low we are as a football club. We are now dependent on other teams doing us a favour. Chelsea last season did a huge favour. Man City could have won the quadruple. We had nothing to do with stopping that. And at the moment, we are hoping that other teams mess up and play shitter than we are so that we can get top 4. We don't deserve top 4. At no point this season have I felt that Manchester United deserve top 4. And reality bites. You either start going out there and performing or you don't. And we just don't deserve top 4. And the only way we're going to get top 4 is if other teams, fall apart. We can't... why are we talking about Abramovich? We're talking about Manchester United. Don't talk to me about bloody Chelsea. They're not even on the same page as us. What are you talking to me about fucking Chelsea for? Talk to me about Manchester United. Open your bloody eyes about Manchester United. We're a joke. Absolute joke. How have we put ourselves in a position? You know what? Actually, I'm going to be absolutely honest here. I'm fuming with Manchester United this morning. I can't help but think about the start of the season and these words that we heard about, Yeah, we want to be in a title race in April. That's the minimum aim. We want to be in a title race in April. You know what we're in? We're in a race for bloody 6th in mid-February. Arsenal have got 2 games in hand and they're 1 point behind us. That is a bloody joke. It's an absolute joke. And you know what? I'm not interested in the talk about the captain. I'm not interested in things like that. I'm interested in why Manchester United are fighting for 5th in the middle of February. And there can only be one reason. We are a circus, an absolute circus. And I'm getting tired of it. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the spin. I'm tired of that. Oh, can I have a picture with you? Oh, put a tweet out. Oh, we're fighting. We're still fighting in this tie. We're still shite in this tie. Like there's got to be a path to success at a club like Manchester United. There's got to be a plan. There's got to be a plan. Somebody somewhere must support Manchester United and have a lot of money. Like there must be a plan. Please tell me somebody is cooking up a plan somewhere in the world. Please tell me somebody is trying to save this football club, because I've never known such a crap run Manchester United with absolute plonkers making decisions. And the best thing is, even going back to Paul Mitchell last night, it'd be a very good appointment. But who's making the decisions? It's always going to fall apart. And we know what'll happen. We'll appoint Paul Mitchell, right? We probably won't, but we do. We'll appoint Paul Mitchell. We'll appoint Ten Hag. We'll sign somebody everybody likes. And all our fan base, again, will go, yeah, we're back. We're back. And by bloody October, you'll be going, it's the Glazers' fault. It's the Glazers' fault. How many times are we going to walk down this road before people see what this club is? It's a theme park. It's not a football club. Everything they do is about manipulating you. It's like a song. Everything I do is manipulating you. It's like, and I'm not even scared of them being pissed off me saying that, because it's proven. It's absolutely proven. They're only interested in expanding their pockets and brand. And how do they do that? They expand the reach of Manchester United. And we saw it after Leeds. Thorpe Park FC, says Capone. We saw it after Leeds. We beat Leeds, and we're winning the bloody league again. And we'll beat Watford tomorrow, and we'll be winning the league again. And I'm sure today it'll be Social Media FC. Who's the winning team in the new training top sponsor? Ronaldo, I nutmegged you in training today on Instagram. Did you do it on the real pitch, or are you just going to be sat on the bench earning a couple of grand a week again? We've got to change the mentality at that football club. And unfortunately, people like myself and you who call it out, we're seen as bloody, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a constructive way of what they see us, but they just think we're hysterical. They think we're just noise. That's what they think. Because even the fans that talk to the club, they're all manipulated. They're all in it for themselves. Oh, I get to talk to Man United on the board. Oh, I got to do this. I get to do that. And they're all part of the problem. They're all part of the problem. Like, people say to me, oh, would you like to be, getting your photograph with United players and this, that, and the other? I'm like, but the biggest, I'd get absolutely slaughtered. And quite rightly so. If I imagine me with a picture on my Instagram tomorrow, stood by the team bus with Harry Maguire like that, and he's going like that, I'd get slaughtered for it. And you know why I'd get slaughtered for it? Because I'd be the biggest sellout hypocrite in the world. Not because I don't like Harry Maguire. I know him, he's probably a really nice guy. But I have been saying that this club's run badly for months. And I've been saying that these players are not good enough for months. So how can I literally sit there and go like that? I'd probably get loads of likes for it, but it would be Man United. It would be Manchester United. That's what I would be. I would be Man United, thinking about my own exposure and my own brand and everything like that, and sod what's really going on. And that's what's going on at United. It's all smiles for everybody. How can I expand my brand? How can I expand this brand? And none of it's about football. We've got to get back to being a football club. Should United sever ties with, I know it's political, but apparently we're the biggest club in the world. Yes, we should, Mark. Of course we should. Because with what's going on in the world at the moment, we should not be taking money from any companies to do with Russia, because what's going on in that is disgusting. And It's about human suffering, and it's not about money. So no, I know that's political, but it involves our football club, and 100% we should be severing ties with companies who are based in Russia, because that's exactly what should happen. 100%. I've got no problem with that. Talking about that as well, the Champions League final has been moved from Russia. It will now be played in Paris. That's been announced as well. Anyway, let's get into some of the news this morning. So I want to start off with Rudiger, actually. The Athletic, I think. No, it wasn't the Athletic. The Athletic is something else. They're talking about tactical meeting between Ronaldo and Rangnick, which I want to talk about. And they're also talking about Pochettino. But there's another story talking about the centre-back situation. Yesterday, we were talking about Kanji. We're talking about Rudiger this morning. Now, what I like about this is, and we're starting to hear it a little bit more, and if there is a bit of a positive, it's that Manchester United seem to have woken up to the fact, and they will wake up to this at some point. They don't really want to listen to the fans, but eventually they have to listen to the fans. And where they are listening to the fans is that no matter how much they undermine Rangnick, there is a feeling in the fan base that he's one of the only people that's spoken any sense publicly in the last 3 years. In fairness, thinking back to Mourinho, I think we'd all had enough of him, but he was talking a lot of sense. I mean, I was looking at some of Mourinho's interviews in his last 3 months before he got sacked, and a lot of what he was saying is spot on. I mean, I don't suggest you do that. Why go and live in the past? But Rangnick's one of the only people to speak sense out of Manchester United publicly in the last 3 years, and I think a lot of United fans, whilst I don't want him to be the full-time manager, I certainly want him to hang around the club because he sees the problems. And that, to me, is refreshing. I've not heard of anybody in United actually speak about the problems at United openly before. My perception is that some of these players and coaches, it's just self-preservation. The self-preservation society. They're all just there, looking out for themselves. That's why there's been some unrest. They're on the phone to their agents and their admins, and they're like, look, bloody hell, we're in survival mode here. That's why United aren't performing as a team, because people are thinking about themselves. Rangnick has actually called out a lot of the issues. God, yes, I want a man like that to stay around the club, because if he's calling out the issues we see as fans, that's great. I want Ronaldo to stay because I think he calls them out as well. But we're starting to see players be linked to United that I think are something to do with Rangnick. Now, it could just be paper talk because these are the players that Rangnick would want, and Rangnick might not stay. On the other hand, he might be recommending players to the United board who've got to be working on players now and don't know who their next manager is going to be. And I think that's really important. We don't know who the next Manchester United manager is going to be, but United have got to be looking for signings. So it's interesting that Akanji's been mentioned, and now Rudiger. Both players linked to Germany. Obviously, Akanji plays in Germany and Rudiger is German. Rudiger's out of contract in the summer. Chelsea don't want to apparently give him more than 200k a week, and United are interested. I like Rudiger. I almost feel a little bit like I don't want to say anything more than that because I want to be, I don't know why, but I want to be respectful to Chelsea. He's a Chelsea player and I can't say why he'd want to leave. But if he did want to leave, I'd love Rudiger. I think he's one of the best centre-backs in the Premier League. One of the best centre-backs in Europe at the moment. So I would love Rudiger at United, but I think it'd be a very hard deal to do, but I would take him. Our team lacks the eye of the tiger. We're spoilt and we've lost that fight. We're just not as hungry as everyone we come up against, says Luke 82. Yeah, they don't have the team spirit, Luke, whatever that is. And get this, since Arnold doesn't know football, why wasn't he sat next to Ralph at Youth Cup yesterday to learn? But instead, the right man was Mitchell, says Klaus. And would love to discuss Burnley with you once, says Ivor Peterson. Well, we discuss Burnley right now, Eva. I hope you stay up. Controversial or not, I absolutely want them to stay up. And Rudiger is quality, says Cello. Well, he's available for free. He's going to cost a lot of money in wages, but if United can do that deal, I would do. Do I think he would come to United? Probably not. But if we bought Rudiger, you've got Rudiger and Varane. If we thought about benching Rudiger to play Maguire or Lindelof, that would be ridiculous. So, look, I'd love Rudiger for many reasons, but if we got Rudiger, it would be Rudiger and Varane. So that's how I see it. But the fact is, I think we're looking at a CDM and a striker, and I wouldn't get too excited about a centre-back because whilst we might buy a centre-back, the centre-back this summer could be the CDM of the last 2 years. I think this summer we're going to get a CDM and a striker. And the centre-back might end up being the CDM, where it's like, we need a CDM, and we don't get one. Never stop calling out Fletcher's appointment, Mark, says Julian. The thing is about Darren Fletcher is I liked him as a player, but I don't understand the appointment. I don't understand how somebody with no CV comes to Manchester United just over a year ago to learn his badges, and then within a year is the technical director at the club. I mean, there's fast tracking and there's stupidity. I just don't understand it. And I don't, it's like what Rangnick said last week. What is his role? He was sat right next to Rangnick in the dugout on Wednesday as well. It just doesn't make any sense to me. And it's not Darren's fault. Again, he's probably another person who gets moody because he gets called out by fans who care about the club. I just don't understand that mentality at all. I cannot understand this weak mentality in this United squad. What is your problem with being called out by fans for not doing your job well? They really don't like it. I've got first-hand experience. They can't deal with it. And I was even in a conversation a few days ago and I said, why don't they like it? Because surely as a footballer who's playing for Manchester United, they've had to fight all the way to get where they are. They know that criticism's part of the game. It always has been. Why can't they deal with this criticism? And ultimately, the blame doesn't really blame with them anyway. It lands with the people who bloody pick them and bring them in. Ronaldo should be scoring goals. For that, he needs service. But last matches, he didn't get any. But he actually opened up an attacking and helped the team to move the ball up front. Can't blame him for not scoring. It's Slayer Gaming. I actually saw something on Ronaldo. I think it was last night that Ronaldo's covered more distance in the Champions League than any other United player. Which is interesting, isn't it? It just shows you how much running around he's had to do. So, yeah, Rudiger. Man United's problem is the recycling people who've played for Man United. They need to think out of the box, as Taylor Hall. It's called a reset, Taylor, and I agree with you. And I would love to get us to Europe. We don't deserve it, and I don't want it because it helps. I would love us to get Europe, but we don't deserve it, and I don't want it because it helps the Glazers, says Daniel Brown. There was a brilliant point made on That's Football last night, and I think it was Nick P who said it, and he basically said words to the effect that why do we want top four when all it does is benefit the Glazers? We won't win the Champions League next year. We'll still be battling for fourth next year. We'd probably be better off failing big time this year, and there's more chance of a big rebuild there. And he actually said, which team will be better by not getting top four? Will it be Man United or will it be Arsenal? I think longer term, probably Arsenal, because they'll, we always invest more when we're in the Europa League. So, I don't want United to be in the Europa League. I hate Thursday night football. I want us to be in the Champions League, but I am starting to understand those fans who are saying we don't deserve top four. And actually, it's the kick up the arse this club needs not to get top four. The thing for me is bye-bye Ronaldo. And that, I think, is the worst thing that can happen. And that's why I want us to get top four, because if we lose Ronaldo, he, to me, is one of the key factors in why that dressing room has become questioned. You take Ronaldo out of that dressing room and we're back to where we were before Ronaldo came here, with certain players who ain't good enough being the vocal players in the dressing room. A lot of us fans have lost faith in protests and calling the game off. What do you think could seriously impact our owners to force them out of the club or make sustainable changes, says Subbo? Well, I don't want to compare what's going on in Ukraine with Manchester United, but, what's going on in Ukraine is serious, and it's horrible. And I hope, and as we all hope and pray, that it stops soon, because any civilian life or innocent life lost is disgraceful. And I think what's going on there is horrible and it's concerning. But from what I've been watching, the West's reaction to this is to hit Russia with sanctions, which is basically a lot of people are going, what you want about hit them with sanctions? But it's massively restrictive to Russia because they want to make money, and this will restrict them. If you bring that to football, and in no way am I bringing this situation to football, but if you go back to last summer, obviously the game being cancelled and the protest was very visible action from a lot of people. But what really terrified Manchester United was the damage to their reputation, the brands that were pulling out, the fear from TeamViewer. That's when the Glazers really started to panic. And that, to me, is how, if somebody wanted to change owners, you've got to hurt them in the pocket. And hurting them in the pocket is failure, I suppose, isn't it? It's failure. And or we need somebody to give them the money to piss off, basically. Updates on Greenwood seems to have gone very quiet. If he's in his away fans chance would be brutal, says Mark. I mean, mate, there's no point talking about that. It's not the time. It's gone quiet because police investigations take a long time, mate. So, nothing's going to happen there. Also, wanted to talk to you a little bit about the FA Youth Cup. Well done to them. They got through to the semi-finals last night. That's where Paul Mitchell was sat next to Ralph Rangnick. Well done. 2-1 win against Leicester. Looking forward to hopefully another Manchester United FA Youth Cup win. But they go through to the semi-finals, which is fantastic. And then I just wanted to talk to you about the Athletic article talking about Pochettino, saying that it's not necessarily a straightforward deal for Manchester United to do, but Pochettino is the man that Manchester United want. Now, I didn't use it as the headline on the show today because I didn't want to upset those people that don't want Pochettino. But the reality is, Manchester United do want Pochettino. It's the worst kept secret in the world. They've wanted Manchester United. Woodward's wanted Pochettino for a while. It's just never quite come at the right time. Pochettino's been free and Ollie was doing well. And Pochettino was in a job when we needed a manager. So we've never had it right. This summer is felt that this will be the time for Manchester United to get Pochettino. I've got absolutely no doubt, absolutely no doubt, in my opinion, Manchester United wants Pochettino. He's the man that they want to be the manager. I know there's a lot of fans that want Ten Hag, and I know there's a lot of fans that are really hoping that the Pochettino thing's just a bit of a smokescreen. And look, in the past, we have seen that with players in the past. We're buying one player and then we end up with another player. But in relation to Pochettino, I just think it's absolutely nailed on that he is the player that Manchester United, manager that Manchester United want. And he probably is the most likely. The only thing I would say about that is if it happens, it's just another reflection of what Manchester United's been for the last 10 years. And that is a team that's run in a way that totally ignores the people who really care about the club, and is left in a position where we are dictated to by a handful of prats, basically. The people who make the decisions at that football club, they're not even Man United fans. There's no way the Glazers support Manchester United. They do now, since they've bought us and we've made them a lot of money. They weren't United fans. They just bought. I mean, it's disgusting, but the Glazers were not Manchester United fans. No way. Neither's Ed Woodward. Neither's Richard Arnold. These people were not Man United fans before they got jobs at Manchester United. And these are people who make the decisions. And I just think, how can you honestly trust a handful of people who, before they started making money off this club, didn't even support it? People that have got no idea how it was we won our first Premier League title. No idea, what happened the season after Eric Cantona got suspended and we came back and we won the double. They won't know. They talk about the DNA, but they won't have any bloody idea what it is all about. And yet, again, Pochettino will be a decision by a handful of people in that club. And yet millions and millions of fans who live, breathe Manchester United do not want that manager. And not because they woke up in the morning and said, I don't like Pochettino's hair. I like somebody with a little bit less hair on their forehead. Because they watch a lot of football and they feel that whilst Pochettino is a good coach, Ten Hag is a better coach with more potential to build the club in the way that it needs to be built. But United will go with Pochettino. For what reason? He's a little bit more glamorous. He's managed in the Premier League before. He's Premier League proven. Did you see the post-match interview with Elanga? I thought it was a poor finish from him, but he expected the space to be there and just slotted it in, says Hub. Yeah, I mean, look, I love David De Gea. I absolutely love David De Gea, but if he'd let that goal in, that Oblak let in, trust me, I would have been giving him a 4 out of 10. I'd have gone absolutely mad. It was crap goalkeeping. I can't believe, if you ever want to play in goal or you do play in goal, you've got to get your angles right. And what Oblak didn't do there is, his front post there, he's basically put all his body on the front post. So he doesn't, if Elanga had gone for the front post, it probably would have hit Oblak on the knee. But if Alanga goes the other side, Oblak's only covering half his goal. What you need to do, he needed to move at least a yard to his right so that if Alanga goes bottom corner, instead of it hitting his knee, just puts his arm out. He's got his angles all wrong. It was a good finish by Alanga. And maybe, you know, to be honest with you, I don't think it was a bad finish by Alanga. It was savable, but Alanga probably only finished like that because of the positioning of the goalkeeper. If Oblak had been positioned better, I think Alanga would have hit it better. But he didn't have to. He just had to put it into the massive space that the keeper left. And, you know, Oblak clearly is not the goalkeeper that he was, because I just don't understand. It reminded me of Henderson against Liverpool last year. You know, just got it all wrong. But, you know. Mal says Alanga's finish was class. You don't know football, mate. And too many reactive purchases. Look, you don't know football if you say that finish was class, because the goalkeeping was dreadful. I still think Alanga would have finished better. I just think he put it into the gap, and fair play to him. Oblak's got the lowest save percentage. Also, apparently as well from The Athletic, there was a meeting after the Southampton game where they spoke about tactics. Ronaldo was there and some other senior players there. And apparently Ronaldo was the most vocal and was discussing whether we should go to a front two. So I don't know what that means, really. I mean, we played Southampton before we played. When did we play Southampton? We drew with Southampton. Was that a weekend game? And then we played Brighton on the Tuesday. I think it was. So, yeah, that would have been around the time there was a team meeting. That would have been around the time the players sort of, I think that was the week it came out. Yeah. You see, you only have to wait a little bit of time for the truth to come out. And right, okay. So look, this is the thing. This is like Fred's interview 3 days ago, where Fred said that it's not great that they've got an interim manager and there's no future plan. It's like Rangnick coming out and saying, you know, the attitude of the first team players isn't as good as Alanga's. But at the weekend, we had players coming out saying, oh, it's all paper talk. But literally 2 days later, Fred's coming out saying stuff that was in the papers. And Rangnick saying stuff in the papers. And now the Athletic are saying that after the Southampton game, the players had a meeting with Rangnick. But that was the week where it was all coming out about the captaincy and a meeting about the captaincy. And everyone came out and said, oh, no, there was no meeting. But then the Athletic are saying there was a meeting after Southampton, which is the week where the meeting about the captaincy took place. So, you know, if you just give it a little bit of time, the truth will always come out. There clearly was a meeting that week. And there was a meeting that week. I even spoke about it that week, that the players had all got together and just said, look, let's come together for the rest of the season and stop all the arguing. So, you know, there clearly was a meeting that week. And look, I don't want to stir all that up again. The reality is the time is running out on this season. Like, Arsenal are favourites for top four. Make them favourites. That's my opinion. Give Arsenal favourites tag for top four. We don't want it. Let Arsenal have it. They're 1 point behind us. They've got 2 games in hand, and they've got to play us at the Emirates. You are favourites. If we were Manchester United and we were 1 point behind Arsenal with 2 games in hand, and Arsenal had to come to the Old Trafford in April, I would be confident that we were favourites. So let them have the favourites tag. We're probably marginal favourites in the Champions League next game against Atletico Madrid because we're at home. But to be honest, we played so bad, it could go either way. Now is the time for these players to deliver. You know, you shouldn't be having any more team meetings. There shouldn't be any more fallings out. You either deliver now or you're going to slip away. We've got to start delivering now. That's what Manchester United have got to do. And I feel like I do say it all the time. But we have to start delivering. Otherwise, this season's going to slip away. I mean, I personally feel that the season's slipped away anyway. It's nowhere near what we expected it to be, but it could be a lot worse. So we have to start delivering. Otherwise, we're in big trouble. Look, doesn't look like we're going to get Paul Ince. I had to send him the link. He said he was going to come on. He's still not messaged me back, so that's disappointing. But he's managing Reading now. I hope Derby stay up. Unless he messages me back. I'm only joking. Anyway, look, we've got Rangnick's press conference reaction at 1:30 today. I would say keep your eye on that press conference because they'll definitely ask him about Mitchell. And Rangnick's very good at giving an honest answer. So I'd be very interested to see what he's got to say about that. I would also hope he has asked questions about transfers, because we are getting more and more links to people that would be Rangnick recommendations, Akanjis, Rudigers. I would like to see Rangnick ask a question about the summer transfer window, and names have been mentioned that, you know, you would think he had a say on. Is he going to be involved in that? So we'll see what happens. Thanks everyone for watching. Make sure you smash a like on the video, subscribe bottom right hand corner, and I will see you at just before 2 o'clock for Ralph Rangnick's press conference reaction. Take care. I'll speak to you all in a bit.